Lexus has the ultra luxury LX, they have the off-road Focus GX, a new one is coming later in 2024, and they have the family Focus 3-row TX. This one is based on the Toyota Grand Highlander, which I reviewed last year, and I like that SUV quite a lot. So is this Lexus version of the Grand Highlander just as good, and does it provide the quality and comfort that people expect from a Lexus vehicle? Let's go for a drive and find out. So this Lexus TX 350 has the same engine that the Grand Highlander has, a 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. It produces 275 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque. When it comes to power, it has more than enough for this big SUV. Setting off from a stop is really simple. It doesn't feel like as though this engine is huffing and puffing to get up to speed. I did get the opportunity to fill up this TX with 5 passengers, so there were 6 of us here in total. And I did notice that the engine's RPMs did need to rev about 500 RPMs more than when the TX was completely empty, like how it is right now. But beyond that, it still felt like it had enough power, and again, it wasn't huffing and puffing to get up to speed. Now granted, when I did have this TX fully loaded with people, I did drive mostly on flat roads and a little bit of highway driving. I didn't go up hills at all. So overall, this 2.4 turbo engine has more than enough power for this big 3-row SUV. My only concern is putting such a small engine with such a big amount of weight. In the past, that was usually a recipe for not having the best reliability, but then again, we are living in modern times, so perhaps Lexus/Toyota have figured things out. Only time will tell. And hopefully, if you do own a Lexus TX or perhaps a Lexus RX or the Grand Highlander or just a regular Highlander, please let me know how your ownership has been by commenting down below, and that is with the 2.4 turbo engine. When it comes to fuel economy with this 2.4 turbo, it is rated for 11.5 liters per 100 kilometers in a city and 8.9 liters per 100 kilometers on a highway. Unfortunately, I have not been able to average those type of numbers. I'm currently averaging about 12 liters per 100 kilometers. Now, I'm not saying that I have a heavy foot, because in other vehicles I can, generally speaking, get the combined fuel economy average, but in this one, I haven't been able to do so. This 2.4 turbo engine is mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. Overall, this is a good transmission and I like it. The shifts are really smooth, you pretty much don't even feel them, and if you decide to put your foot down, it shifts to the appropriate gear and away you go in a reasonable amount of time. The brakes are good as well. Every time that I put my foot on the brake pedal, it feels nice and firm, but it's not like an on-off switch. I can actually modulate it to provide smooth stops for myself and all the passengers, if I had any. Just like the Grand Highlander, the 2024 Lexus TX 350 is an easy 3-row SUV to drive. Whether it's on highways, city streets, or backcountry roads, you'll always feel relaxed from behind the steering wheel. It doesn't provide a particularly enjoyable driving experience, but it does seem to have a bit less body roll through sharper corners than the Grand Highlander did. Again, just an easy to drive large SUV. One area that this Lexus TX shines really well is with the ride comfort and interior cabin noise. So right now I am on a highway doing about 100 kilometers an hour, and it's a smooth highway, so the ride quality is obviously really smooth as well. But if there were bumps on this highway, the suspension absorbs it really well. Unfortunately, this TX 350 does not have adaptive variable suspension, but even so, the suspension tuning is great at just absorbing the bumps, but not making the ride feel overly floaty. And as for cabin noises, it is really quiet in here. Much quieter than in some other three-row SUVs. So again, I'm on a highway right now doing 100 kilometers an hour, and there's barely any noise intruding into the cabin, particularly from the tires. This car does have snow tires, which are generally louder than all-season tires, but it is much quieter in here than some other three-row SUVs. On top of that, there's no wind noise, there's no engine noise unless I put my foot down, but when you're just cruising, absolutely no noise coming from underneath the hood. With its large exterior dimensions, the Lexus TX is really spacious on the inside as well. Now, I am not the average height adult at 6'4". I am way above the average height, but sitting here in the front, I really can't complain for the amount of space that I have. Plenty of legroom and plenty of headroom, and I can even move the seat further back if I want more legroom, or I can raise it further up to get an even better view out the front. This being a Lexus vehicle, the materials are really nice to the touch. So there is leather in pretty much every single touch point, from the sides of the center console where your knee rests, to the door armrests, to the door side panels, to of course the seats and the center armrest as well. There's also a little bit of suede on the dashboard in front of the passenger, which looks and feels really nice. And because this is a large family vehicle, there needs to be space for smaller items such as drinks or cell phones or whatever else families tend to leave around their vehicles. There is tons and tons of space right here in the center console. You can even remove the cup holders to make more space. You can move the wireless phone charging pad forward to reveal even more space. There's plenty of space on the door panels, and the center console is decently deep. So with that, let's go check out the back seats now. Of course, in the second row seats, the Lexus TX is available with bench seats, which do slide forwards and backwards and recline. I believe they're split 60-40 if you get them with the bench seats, but you can also option them with captain's chairs like how this one has. And just like the bench seats, these also do slide forwards and backwards as well as recline. There is also a center console in between these seats, which you can remove and make it a simple pass-through, or just leave it in there and have space for small items or your cup holders. In terms of space, behind my taller than average driving position, my knees just barely scrape the back of the front seat, and same goes with my hair up against the headliner. Overall, I really can't complain because for my above average height, I have plenty of space in the second row. So now, let's try and squeeze into the third row. Getting into the third row is really simple. A little button on the top of the second row seat, and then you just slip in. Now with the second row seat all the way to the back, it's not too bad in here for somebody of my height at 6'4", remember. So my knees are right up against the back of the second row seat, but overall they don't feel too squished. Headroom is a little bit less than it is in the second row. My hair is brushing a lot more up against the headliner, but overall, I really can't complain for somebody of my height in these third row seats. In the third row, you'll find a USB port on either side and large cup holders. But it doesn't appear that there's anything to firmly secure a round bottle like the tabs in the cup holders in the front seats. Just something for you to be aware of. Further behind the seats, the 2024 Lexus TX 350 has 572 liters with all rows of seats up, 1,625 liters with the power folding third row seats down, and 2,747 liters with the second and third row seats folded. There's also a spare wheel underneath the trunk floor, and the TX has a standard power liftgate. As is to be expected from a luxury SUV, the Lexus TX is brimmed with convenience features. From heated and ventilated front and second row captain's chairs, 10-way power adjustable front seats, 21-speaker Mark Levinson audio system, to a head-up display, a large panoramic sunroof, surround view cameras with an invisible car view, 3-zone automatic climate control, wireless phone charging pad, a massive 14-inch touchscreen, and a rear camera mirror, to name a few. This 3-row SUV has everything you and your family would ever need from a luxury vehicle. On the outside, the 2024 Lexus TX has an identical overall shape as the Toyota Grand Highlander. But the designers did incorporate some Lexus design language with the sharp LED daytime running lights, massive spindle grille, large 22-inch wheels, and full-length rear light bar. Personally, I think the Lexus TX has a more noticeable design than the Grand Highlander, but I'm not sold on that grille. The horizontal bars look odd in my eyes, and it may have looked a bit better if it had a diamond pattern like the one on the Lexus RX. So how much does it cost to get into this Lexus TX? Well, this TX 350 starts at $68,750 Canadian. This demo vehicle was fully loaded and it came with the executive 6-passenger option. It has an as-equipped price of $80,250 Canadian. In the end, this new Lexus TX is just like the Toyota Grand Highlander. It's spacious, easy to drive, and most importantly, it is comfortable with that little bit of added Lexus luxury. At $80,000 as this one is equipped, that is a lot of money. But look at it this way. It is less expensive than the BMW X7, Mercedes GLS, Lincoln Navigator, Cadillac Escalade, and even the GMC Yukon. Compared to other 3-row SUVs that are similarly priced as this, such as the Audi Q7 and Acura MDX, this one is much more spacious. So it's in a bubble all of its own. More spacious than its direct competitors, but less expensive than some other large luxury SUVs. If you would like to know more about this 2024 Lexus TX 350, I have a written review with a few more details about it over on my website. You can find that link in the video description or click on the pop-up banner right up here. And as always, I will see you in the next car or truck or most likely another SUV like this one. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and see you in the next one.